Before we start, at Fantasy Sabers, we're launching the Chosen One affordable version. This is almost an identical replica of the Chosen One saber with just a few tweaks, but it's still packing all of its power and glory. And to celebrate, for the first 2 weeks of its launch, we're giving away one for free with every saber order. Just choose your saber, add it to the cart to claim your free saber. Don't miss out on this limited time only sale. Now back to the video.
In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin gets a vision of Padme dying in childbirth, leading him to scour Coruscant for knowledge on how to save her. This leads him to Palpatine, who he sides with before leading a brutal attack against the Jedi, and he becomes Darth Vader. But what if Anakin's visions was of his own death, not Padme's? This would change the timeline immensely, and through this one small change, a ripple effect of changes would occur. When Anakin falls asleep, he slips into a nightmare. He sees himself in a metal suit on a space station as a young boy being tortured. Anakin begins shaking in his bed as his mind realizes that he has turned to the dark side and is aiding this torture of his own child. The vision cuts to the young boy taking his mask off as Anakin watches himself die. As Vader takes his last breath, Anakin wakes panting and immediately goes to the veranda overlooking the early morning sky of Coruscant. When Padme walks outside to check on her husband, he reluctantly says what he saw to his wife. He was embarrassed, worried, and didn't understand how he could turn evil. He tries to shake it off, telling his wife that it can't be true, that he would never become an agent of evil. Anakin would carry on his day as normal, but this thought would linger on the back of his mind, and he wouldn't know what to do. He is put on the council, but denied the rank of master, which yes frustrates him, but his focus is elsewhere. If the future he saw was real, him not becoming a master is irrelevant. However, everything changed for the worse then after that session, when he gets another daytime vision, showing Padme die in childbirth. This is when Anakin decides to go and see Master Yoda.
Darkness, yes, in the future, much clouded it is. Fear I sense in you, young one. Fear of this vision, fear of what it might mean.
Anakin was more desperate than he was in Revenge of the Sith. He needed an answer. He needed Yoda to help him. Why would I turn to the dark side? What would give me such a fate? Yoda couldn't answer these questions, but he told Anakin that he has to search deep within himself to see if there was anything that he believed was causing his stress and pain. Anakin ignored the question. What if I fail? What if I can't escape this fate? This future can't be mine. I won't let it.
Fail you may, learn you must, but fear of failure and being consumed by it you will be. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering.
Then what must I do? How can I stop this from happening? Yoda places his three-fingered hand across his chin, searching within himself for the answers. He had to tread carefully with these words, as he knew Anakin would hold on to everything he said.
Free yourself from your connections to the dark side. Conquer what causes your fear, your anger, your hate. Only then understand the true nature of your visions will you.
Anakin lowers his head in fear. When he leaves, Yoda remains and meditates. He can sense that this is chewing away at Anakin's peace, that there isn't a simple solution. Yoda could sense how clouded his future is, and how he is about to embark on a dangerous path. As Anakin is the chosen one, he seemed to always receive one end of the extreme from the council. Either they acted as though they didn't trust him, or they would give him so much attention and guidance to ensure he could fulfill the prophecy. Now it is the latter. Yoda would remain on Coruscant to help Anakin and wouldn't go to Kashyyyk since he knew the stakes were too high. When Anakin goes to sleep that night, he receives the same vision, only extended. He sees a hooded man who is using force lightning on the young boy who is begging for his father to help him. As Skywalker watches, absolutely consumed in the vision, he sees Vader throw the Emperor down the shaft and to his death. He doesn't see Palpatine's face, but he knows it must be the Emperor. Anakin wakes up again screaming and panting, but Anakin jolts even bigger when he looks to the bottom of his bed and sees Master Yoda standing there. Anakin stumbles on his words. He doesn't know what to say.
With the Senator. Surprising this is.
Master, I can explain.
No, Makes sense your vision does now.
Anakin would follow Yoda to his balcony as Padme remains in her bed, mortified and worried for Anakin. Yoda was certainly disappointed in Anakin, and in normal circumstances, this would be cause to expel him from the Order, but everyone knew that Anakin wasn't a normal circumstance, that his life was tied to a prophecy that would determine the fate of the entire galaxy. Yoda's first thought brought him back to Naboo when he allowed Obi-Wan to train him. He was being a fool, focusing on his attachment to Qui-Gon and his sorrow to Obi-Wan so that he could train the boy. Yoda now realized that then he should have taken on Skywalker himself, but it didn't matter anymore. Yoda was disappointed in Anakin, but explained to him that his attachment to Padme is what will be his undoing. You can sense everything now, Master. You know why I'm in danger. I can't just let Padme die.
Danger you are in, young one. Your attachment, too strong and established it is. Impossible to let go, will it be?
What must I do, Master Yoda?
Train you, I will. Control your emotions you must, like Master Windu or Mundi. Use it to your advantage you will.
Yoda would call Saesee Tiin to help him in Anakin's teachings. Mundi was away on Mygeeto and wouldn't be able to help, and even Yoda knew that Windu and Anakin's relationship was strained, and there would be no teacher-student bond that would help Anakin grow. So Master Tiin was the next best thing. Over the next few hours, they would work with Anakin to develop his control and balance in the Force. They started with almost a lecture, a classroom where they just spouted information at Anakin. They spoke of the dangers of premonitions, that the future isn't always absolute and the Force simply shows you one possible outcome out of many, but also how the Force is ironic and becoming consumed by a future you don't know will happen will spark it into existence. Anakin meditated and Yoda helped guide him through his visions and tests, while Saesee Tiin monitored Anakin's progress outside of the vision. Yoda was especially good at this, as he was one of the Jedi who possessed the ability of Force premonitions. Very dangerous, but when trained and harnessed, extremely powerful. What's interesting about Anakin compared to other Jedi with this ability is that in almost every case, the Jedi with premonition abilities receives a green lightsaber, except Anakin, who despite holding the strong level of Force power, his upbringing shaped his view and destiny into a fight or flight mentality, giving him a blue blade. After a few hours of work, Anakin lay down for some rest. Tiin and Yoda remained with him, and when Anakin entered into a vision again, the Masters flowed through the Force through Anakin, and they were able to see his vision as well. They helped him understand things much better. Yoda was smart enough to recognize that the Emperor is the Sith Lord they had been looking for, and that Anakin's child would certainly be the child Padme is about to give birth to. The following day, Palpatine tells Anakin about Plagueis and how if Anakin turns to the dark side, he can save the ones he loves from death. Just like in his vision, instead of withholding this information, Anakin instantly tells Yoda and Saesee, and although very troubled, this confirms in Yoda's mind that Palpatine is somehow linked to the Sith. How else would he know of a Sith Lord in which he has never heard of? No doubt Sidious has told Palpatine about Plagueis to manipulate Anakin to the darkness. Yoda and Tiin assure Anakin that you can't cheat death, that it would only be Padme's undoing.
Lying. Palpatine is influenced by the Sith. A puppet he is.
He spoke with so much conviction, Master. It was like he knew exactly how to help me.
No, listen to him, you cannot. Trust the Jedi, you must.
As Anakin lowered his head, Yoda realized that a lot of this stemmed from Anakin's mistrust from the Jedi. Yoda apologizes to Anakin for the Council's seemingly disregard for his talent and abilities. He says they have always been confused on how to treat him. Anakin is different from other Jedi, and the prophecy has placed the safety of the entire Republic on his shoulders. Yoda and Anakin have a heart-to-heart and come to a mutual understanding. This was all very beneficial for Anakin, but he still didn't know what to do with the information that he had learned. Yoda tells Anakin that it was a mistake giving him this secret assignment, and they had put Anakin right into Sidious's grasp. Saesee Tiin suggests, and Yoda agrees, that Anakin be pulled from this assignment. It is too risky and dangerous. Anakin understands, and to be honest, he is a little relieved. Something to note here compared to Revenge of the Sith is that Anakin would feel a lot safer and more mentally intact by having Yoda know everything and clearly be trying to help him and get him through this. He doesn't feel alone, like his entire world is crashing down on him. The council reassigns Anakin to Mandalore to help escort Maul back to Coruscant, who has just been defeated by Ahsoka. This is the council trying to get him away from Palpatine for the time being. After Anakin leaves, the Chancellor calls for Anakin, but the council tells him that he's now on Mandalore. Palpatine immediately realizes that something has gone wrong. Anakin is supposed to be on his secret mission to spy him, not on Mandalore. There is no reason for him to be reassigned. Either the council suddenly have faith in the Chancellor and believe that he isn't dual-faced, or they think the mission is too dangerous because Anakin has revealed something to him. Anger swells within Palpatine. He needs Anakin to turn now. He has lost Dooku and Grievous, and if the Chosen One does not join him, then the Separatists will crumble. In order to draw Anakin back, Sidious kidnaps Padme to both anger Anakin, but he also knows that Skywalker will force his way home to save her. On the Republic cruiser, Ahsoka and Anakin reunite. Tano tells Anakin about what Maul was saying, that he's being groomed to be the next Sith. Ahsoka was clearly desperate and worried for Anakin's safety. Anakin couldn't become their puppet. As this conversation unfolds, they receive reports from the council that Senator Padme Amidala has been taken. Anakin lets loose, rage consuming him. He didn't see this in his dreams. Something must be very wrong. Ahsoka tries to settle Anakin's emotions. She was upset too. Padme was one of her closest friends. But deep down she also knew that there was something romantic between her and Anakin, and that's why Anakin was reacting this way. Tano attempts to calm her master by telling him that there's nothing they can do until they return to Coruscant. But Anakin scoffs and says that isn't true. Marching towards the detention block of the ship, he greets Maul. The Dathomirian smiled. He could smell the dark side. Maul is lifted into the air as his windpipe shuts. Anakin moves his hand into a pincer and he commands Maul to tell him who Sidious is. He needs any bit of information to help him locate Padme. If anyone knew Sidious's identity, it's Maul, who grew up alongside the Sith Lord. At first, Maul laughed off the threats, but as Anakin's anger and impatience grew, Maul began fearing for his life. There were no other Jedi or people watching to condemn Anakin's actions. Maul reveals that Chancellor Palpatine is the Sith Lord. Anakin's body recoils and he immediately pulls his comlink and informs Yoda. At the same time, Anakin and Ahsoka arrive back on Coruscant and join the council as they maneuver to Palpatine's office, finding him sitting at his desk. He welcomes them as Windu orders him to give over his emergency powers and come with them. Palpatine knew what was happening. They knew who he was. He could see it in their faces. A mixture of rage, confusion, and even fear. The Jedi move closer.
Anakin, if you let the Jedi take one more step, you will never see her again.
Windu's eyes open and Anakin freezes in place. Tin and Yoda can sense the turmoil within him. He is stuck. Anakin starts shaking. His head moves back and forth like a pendulum as he stares between the Sith and the Jedi.
Calm yourself, Skywalker. Believe his lies, you must not. Trust the Force. Trust your wife, you must.
Palpatine can see the visible conflict on Anakin's face and smirks. Windu asks who she is, as anger and rage swells in his stomach. Just as the Jedi begin to turn on each other, Palpatine attacks, immediately killing Agen Kolar and swinging wildly at Tin, but missing. The Jedi stabilize and begin to fight. The conflict was still painted across Anakin's face. He needed to save Padme. Palpatine leaps for Fisto, trying to eliminate the weaker Jedi first. But Fisto simply blocks and continues fighting, his mind free from outside thoughts. The reason Fisto died so quickly in the original timeline is because he sensed Anakin coming into the building and his mind became foggy and distracted. If that weren't to happen, he would fight very well. Palpatine tries everything. Force lightning, force choke, he throws lightsabers from his vases, but all to no effect. Windu and Yoda lead the attacks, fighting with aggression and sheer determination to win. Palpatine was outmatched. He couldn't beat any of the council members as they combined their attacks. When Windu focused his Vaapad on Sidious, he disarms the Sith Lord, spinning and following through as he swings towards Palpatine's throat, and as Anakin screams in defiance, it was too late. Windu had killed him, and now Anakin had no leads on finding Padme. Anakin begins losing his control, rage becoming his natural undercurrent as he condemns Windu for hiding her from him. An argument begins, and Yoda swiftly interrupts. He tells Windu and Fisto to go to the Senate and explains what's happened. Meanwhile, Yoda and Sazy help Anakin.
Focus, young one. Bring your mind to the senator.
There's no use. She's gone. No, Anakin. If you focus your mind on Padme's presence, focus your love and attachment on her, you will find her, I promise. Anakin closes his eyes and thinks about Padme. He remembers how they met, fell in love, spent time together on Naboo and got married at the lake house. How she's pregnant with their family. Tears stream down his face, but it works. He locates her. She is stashed away above a bar in the lower levels of Coruscant. Traveling there immediately, the Jedi barge into the bar and everyone inside knows. As bounty hunters guard the door and begin firing at them, Anakin ignites his saber and blocks the bolts before using the Force to throw them into the wall unconscious. Padme is ecstatic to see her husband, and they return to the upper levels of Coruscant together. The Senate accepts Palpatine's death and manipulations after much debate and discussion. The delegation of 2000 takes over the Senate and ensures a peaceful transition of power. A few days after her rescue, Padme gives birth to twins who she and Anakin name Luke and Leia. Yoda stood beside them as she gave birth and smiled. He was happy for the Chosen One, and after days of stress and anger, he had completed the prophecy. A pivotal council meeting was held in which different opinions were put forward regarding Anakin's position in the Jedi. Windu advocated for his expulsion, clearly stating that Anakin broke the code and he doesn't deserve to be a Jedi. But other council members like Yoda, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon and Sazy Tin, and the newly elected council member following Agen Kolar's death, Ahsoka Tano, argued that Anakin simply followed the will of the Force and completed the prophecy. He shouldn't be punished for that. Decisions around Anakin have always had special consideration, and this was no different. The council votes 11-1 in favor of Anakin staying in the Order. And so, everything was right in the galaxy again, and the Skywalkers could raise their family amidst a peaceful time in the Republic. Anakin Skywalker had everything he had ever wanted, and he was extremely happy and proud to be a Jedi Master. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Head over to Fantasy Sabers for the best NeoPixel sabers on the market. You won't be disappointed. And be sure to check out our membership program where you get exclusive content and all of our what ifs early.